So good morning once again. Very, very warm welcome to our distinguished speakers, Dr. Madhavi Lata ma'am and Mr. Tushar Anupam. We are really delighted to have you both on this wonderful topic for budding engineers, for engineers who are currently in their, engineering courses or who are aspiring to become engineers and doing their entrance examinations, or people who are now in the industry and, just about looking at really exploring their options and what is the best for them as far as skill set, mindset, knowledge, everything is concerned. So, on that note, I'll request my colleague Neha Kapoor to start off with the introduction.
A very good morning, everyone. GHRDC welcomes you to today's webinar titled The Future of Engineering, Skills and Mindset for 2030 and Beyond. Thank you, everyone, for taking our time and joining in with us today. We are delighted to have with us experts from industry and academia for the discussion. On behalf of GHRDC team, I welcome our expert panel members. GHRDC, as many of you would be aware, is a 28 years old education research firm dedicatedly working in the area of ranking, training, mentoring, and research, with the sole aim of working on upgrading the quality of education in various sectors and benchmarking the best of the educational institutions in our country. Today's discussion will be one in which we explore how engineering is evolving at an unprecedented pace, driven by AI, automation, interdisciplinary learning, and innovation. As we move towards 2030 and beyond, technical expertise alone will not be enough. Engineers must also develop adaptable mindsets, ethical awareness, the quality to learn, unlearn, and collaborate across domains. This session explores the skills and thinking that will define the next generation of engineers. We will now be inviting our distinguished speakers to talk about this very exciting topic. Also, I would request all our wonderful attendees to type in any questions you have for the speakers in the chat box given along with the name of the speaker it is addressed to. Now, I would like our director and ranking head, Ms. Aradhna Changavoti, to introduce our eminent speakers for today. Over to you, Aradhna, ma'am.
Thank you, Neha. Good morning and welcome, everyone. I'll now read out the profiles of our eminent speakers for today. Dr. Madhavi Lata. Dr. Y. Madhavi Lata is the principal of Mallareddy Engineering College for Women. Her dare to dream, to work smart and strive for excellence and to enjoy the journey in every step of the way has made her to scale greater heights. Having obtained her bachelor degree in electronics and communication engineering from JNTUH, she has also completed her master's in digital systems and computer electronics from the same university. She had completed her doctoral program PhD in the area of signal processing from JNTUH. She took up academic pursuit and has more than 25 years of academic research and administrative experience. Dr. Y. Madhavi Lata has attained 25 patent rights for her technological innovations and has 140 publications to her credit. She has published a book entitled Signal Processing Simulation using MATLAB and is also the editor-in-chief for International Journal of Research in Signal Processing, Computing, and Communication System Design. Under her guidance, 6 members have been awarded PhD, and she is presently guiding 8 research scholars under JNTUH in the concerned fields. Dr. Madhavi Lata, with her inspirational role in the field of education, has received prestigious awards like India's 20 Pragmatic Women Leaders in Education Industry 2021, Bhisma Acharya Award by Bharat Education Excellence Awards, Most Innovative Principal Engineering College in Telangana State Award from International Education Awards, Time Cyber Media Private Limited, Best Principal Award for Excellence in Education from the Global Leader Foundation, and Women in Education Award by Deyang Mehta National Education Awards. She has also bestowed with the Best Teacher Award at G. Narayanamma Institute of Technology and Science. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. We are very happy to have you in our webinar today. Mr. Tushar Anupam. Mr. Tushar Anupam is a results-driven senior software engineer with over a decade of experience in designing, building, and scaling secure, high-performance distributed systems for global platforms. A dual degree graduate from BITS Pilani in computer science and physics, he brings a strong foundation in algorithms, operating systems, and machine learning. He is currently associated with Atlassian and previously worked in Amazon, where he contributed to unified authentication and authorization services, enabling secure service to service communication at massive scale. Mr. Anupam has a proven track record in architecting security focused identity segregation solutions and developing low latency, highly available systems delivering single digit millisecond performance and 5 nines reliability. His expertise include building large-scale ETL pipelines for telemetry, compliance, and business intelligence across global regions, along with strong proficiency in cloud-native development, infrastructure automation, and CI/CD using AWS and infrastructure as code. Prior to Amazon, he served as a lead engineer at Samsung Research, collaborating with global stakeholders and driving core product architecture for multiple enterprise solutions. Recognized for his strong sense of ownership, cross-functional collaboration, and ability to translate complex technical challenges into scalable business-aligned outcomes, Mr. Anupam brings both depth and impact to his work. Beyond his professional pursuits, he is a passionate fitness enthusiast and an avid marathon runner. We welcome you to today's webinar, Mr. Anupam. And we have Ms. Mekhla Sinha, the Executive Director of GHRDC, who will be acting as a moderator for the discussion today. With this, I would request Mekhla to take over and initiate the panel discussion. Over to you, Mekhla.
Thank you. Thank you, Ratna. Thank you, Neha. Once again, a very, very warm welcome to both our distinguished speakers, Dr. Madhavi Lata ma'am and Mr. Tushar Anupam. It is really a pleasure for us to be having both of you on this very exciting topic. So just to talk a little bit about the topic of today, the skills and mindset for the engineers in the next 5 to 10 years and even beyond is what is going to be the main topic of discussion. And we are really looking forward to hearing your journeys and how you were able to understand, the whole paradigm of engineering education and industry in the last 10, 15, 20 years. And how do you see the future? So this webinar is actually not just for prospective engineers or students who are right now preparing for engineering, but also for students who are currently studying or who are about to join or in their initial stages of the industry. I'm sure both of you will bring in your vast experience, words of wisdom, and lots of learning to today's discussion. On that note, I'll kickstart the meeting with my very first question. In fact, my first question is the same for both of you. And I'll first start with Dr. Madhavi Lata ma'am. Ma'am, when we talk about engineering education, a lot has changed. Of course, changes were happening all the time, every year. There were various trends that were happening. There were a lot of technological innovations that were happening. But post-COVID, we saw a very drastic change as far as engineering education was concerned, and knowledge and curriculum was concerned.
Mekhla, your voice is breaking.
So, in that, what would your sorry, am I audible right now?
Now you are audible. In between, your voice was breaking. I think, ma'am, did you hear the complete question?
Yes, madam.
Yeah. Yeah, Mekhla, you can continue.
Of today's time, and from 2030 and beyond, what are the kind of role changes that you would be able to share with us that has happened for engineers of the next 5 to 10 years? You.
A little bit, but anyhow, that I got the question like what I need to answer.
I can read the question. I think there was a network issue. So the question was, what do you think will define an engineer in 2030, and how will the role evolve from today?
So actually, that really it's a very good question. Like uh, at present days, like no, because of the NEP 2020, National Education Policy 2020, already our government, because of that policy, initiated, and wherein that students must be very focused on multidisciplinary courses, and they must be mastered in their course, and they should have the knowledge on all other disciplines which required, and to solve in an intelligent way for the system level thinking and system level problem solving, and wherein it will be helpful, and where is very much essential for the by 2030, and as well as now onwards, even the students supposed to already, it's already started in the our academia in the curriculum point of view, even that where we are offering the multidisciplinary courses which include social science and probably the things which are all required for them, and they need to have the knowledge rather than mastering only one particular area. They should have the minimal knowledge in all other disciplines too. And apart from that, that emerging technologies like AIML, data science, and cybersecurity and IoT, and along with the latest tools, what are all that related to that, and they should have the ability to integrate that AIML in their respective engineering field and for the problem solving. And that is a major thing that I'm thinking of. And apart from that, and they need to think as a innovators, and wherein NEP 2020 is focusing more on innovation and research too, wherein that in a higher education institutions, and that we are also very much focused in a curriculum design too, wherein coming to our college, like being autonomous institution, that we already started with the innovative product development, where we have given the credits for them in the 4 semesters, where in the final semester they need to submit the detailed project report along with the marketing strategies, which helps the students to have the entrepreneurial skills, wherein every time that the students are thinking that always getting one job in a some or other multinational company rather than that, or else any product based companies, and rather than that they should have the ability to start their own company where they make that like no, they should be in a position to provide the jobs too. And apart from that, that very much focus that they need to have that like no ethical engineering, and particularly they need to think about the social impact. So particularly I think that to 2030 the students should have the adaptability and responsibility, and they need to think about the social impact too, so which include the sustainable development goals which are initiated by the United Nations and in 2015, and wherein that by 2030 the that we need to remove the poverty and yeah, end the poverty, and as well as we need to think about the protecting our planet, at the same time think about the peace and as well as the prosperity, and the engineer of 2030 and as well as now onwards, even they need to think about the sustainable development goals and the green engineering too. So apart from that, leadership, that value based leadership rather than the authority based leadership, along with the collaboration. So they need to have the very good skill in that, where, and these are the major evolving for the 2030, and lifelong learning, upskilling their knowledge continuously rather than stopping at one place, where like once they get some settlement in their life. These are the things that are required at present, that as per my knowledge.
Absolutely, ma'am. In fact, you touched upon some very vital points. And I must say that, a lot of these points that you mentioned are something that we've been hearing continuously from our other speakers also time and again. For example, interdisciplinary thinking, or whether it was the entrepreneurial spirit that you spoke about, and the fact that you talked about being a continuous learner. This has come unanimously from most of our speakers in the last many webinars that we've been doing, that learning curve must not stop, and there should always be a constant sense of curiosity to learn and to grow. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank
So,
you.
Mr. Anupam, I come back to you exactly with the same question. And the reason I asked you both the same question is because both of you are coming from a different perspective. Ma'am is talking from both academic and administrative background, and she has been very closely, obviously, interacting and engaging with students. And for you, you are now going to be talking with reference to both your professional and personal journey of, being an engineering graduate as well as being in the industry for more than a decade. So, what would your views be on that?
Yeah,
Over to you.
sure. Yeah, this is a great thing to look upon. I mean, coming with the vast shift in the technological paradigm over like in the past couple of years with AI coming in. One thing I would like to reiterate from Lata ma'am's answer is like multidisciplinary learning, right? So how our brain works is like we index knowledge and we have a breadth first approach and a depth first approach, like which we can take through knowledge. So depth first was the pattern which we followed, where we went into the depth for a particular stream, which we took upon when we joined the college, right? And then there is a breadth first approach, which now ma'am is advocating, and like the government is also advocating, like at least build the index of knowledge. You don't need to get into depth of everything, but you should have an index like where to look upon when you need to solve those problems, because problems become more and more ambiguous as you get into the industry, and you are not restricted to solving only what you have learned. So you have to get into areas which are new to you, and if you have that index built in from college, you can definitely dive deep into that particular area and you can learn. Now, coming on to the next part. So with AI coming in, what a engineer in 2030 would be more of that compared to now is more a manager of like agents which we talk about. So there will be your support agents, let's say, or maybe team members which you have to manage, right? You can get work done very fast. You can have a team of, let's say, 5 agents which work for you, and you have to be manager for those. You have to be great reviewers. So currently, I mean, in engineering colleges, we don't review our peer work. Our work is all reviewed by our professors. So in industry, you have to be reviewers of the work which AI has done. You have to be very critical about what you are picking up from a particular AI agent, and you are incorporating into your own solution. So you have to be great reviewers. You have to be good at reviewing the documents or like any proposals which AI has generated. So coming on to the next part, which I'm also touched upon, like sustainability, right? Now that we are getting into the age of AI, we are shipping things faster than ever. So what used to happen is, let's say we took upon a project and like we worked on it for a year or so, we get an ample time to think of the failures which can happen. Now we have very less time, so we have to be aware about like what impact our change can make to the world, whether it be in terms of energy consumption, whether it be in terms of uh, direct impact to people. So that is one thing which needs to be there. The third thing is, which I want to touch upon, is stick to the fundamentals, because any change which happens to the industry, the fundamentals never change. So uh, one thing which I, from my experience, have learned is that the only language which we learned for programming in college was C and Java, right? The couple of things. And since then, I have like, at least like worked on 7, 8 languages more than what I had learned in college. The fundamentals never change. If I get onto a project where like I have to write code in Scala, still I'm able to do that within a couple of days, or at least a 3, 4 days time, where I can like learn the constructs because the underlying fundamentals don't change. Given that, I mean, engineers in 2030 should also focus on learning the fundamentals and like banking on that when they encounter a new technology which comes their way. So yeah, that's a few points which I would like to add here.
Very well summarized, Tushar. I think you also touched upon some very, very vital points. You can of course, like you said, the era is changing. We have to keep up with the times and everything. But essentially, what I took back from you was that you may not be master of none, but you've got to be jack of all trades for sure. And you've got to have a very expansive view of the kind of knowledge. And at the same time, not compromise on your fundamentals. In fact, you'll be very surprised that this is again another very important tip that is being shared by our industry speakers, not just in engineering education, but even in law, in architecture, in business management education webinars that we organize. They all talk about this aspect of sticking to the fundamentals, no matter what change is happening. Of course, keeping pace with it, learning it, going along with it, but also making sure that you are absolutely aligned with the basic foundations of your course and of your understanding. Wonderful. Thank you. Ma'am, you spoke about a very important point and you touched upon it, and I'll just go back to you on that point and maybe elaborate that question a little bit for you. What are the skills that are non-negotiable according to you, which apart from the academic knowledge and projects and everything, that an engineering student should definitely have, coming to this era of changes in AI and automation and all of that. So if you could just elaborate on the skills.
So, so I'm thinking that it's a critical thinking and complex problem solving abilities. And the second one, as Tushar sir mentioned rightly, that logical thinking, reasoning, analytical skills, which include all, like they should have the thorough knowledge on fundamentals. So, and problem solving abilities, and moreover, as already mentioned, that collaboration, leadership qualities, and particularly they need to focus more on value added leadership. It's not the authority based leadership. And moreover, and communication, and particularly the global, they should be ready for an industry where they can focus on global challenges too. So it's not the thing like only one place in a one particular phase of uh, development. And overall, like global needs are the skill which they need for it. And moreover, and they need to have the feel that, like, no, it's whatever the product that they are developing, it will be of a safe and inclusive too. And they need to think in that direction too. And basically what I mean to say, they should be they should have the very depth knowledge in technology. And as well as they need to think more about the, like, no, strong vision about that, how that social impact. And they should have that vision about the product what they are developing, like, no, the skill that they need to have that vision. And whatever the knowledge, that if they have the knowledge, how they can apply in the problem solving also, that ability that they should have. Most of the time that people may accumulate that their knowledge and whatever the skill that they have, and they never think about that how they can be helpful in the problem solving. So that kind of direction, that kind of the skill that they need to adapt. So that's what adaptability, responsibility, and as well as the social impact that particularly they need to think of. And that's what I'm thinking for the skills which already discussed, what are all skills required. And apart from that, innovation and research, they need to contribute to the innovation and research. So the whatever the first point, at the time of the innovation, they need to identify what kind of the societal problems. They should have the ability to identify the problems of the society, and then they can come to know how to solve with their own ideas, and so that they can get their own innovative products. And for that they can become entrepreneurs. So every time, rather than waiting for the jobs and all, like every time, engineering means nowadays the people are thinking about they need to get the crores of money per annum, or else some lakhs of rupees, that they feel a privilege rather than that. So usually I used to tell to my children, even like where we are very focused under the entrepreneur development cell, that, like, no, and providing the entrepreneurial skills in particular, that future engineers must be of entrepreneurs too, so that they can be in a position to provide the jobs to others. And it will be gives a lot of societal impact even, and the safe and secure, and a security point of view even, that they must be very focused on that. So research also, it's a continuous process, and engineers must and should pay attention to the attention on research too, we should be the part of that and by contributing in the research too. So these are the skills that I'm thinking that it's essential for the 2030, and as well as in the present engineers who are studying, even they need to have, and it's in that same direction. And because AI ML, that a lot of focus on that, and we're integrating in almost all the products. That's why we need to pay more attention on the sustainable development goals, and particularly ethical way, that so it should not impact, it should be safe, and it should be see that the students should have the pure heart, and where that education institutions and the entire society should give that kind of mindset to the students, where they should develop any product which can be helpful to the society. That's the most important thing. Otherwise there will be a lot of negative impact on the AML and the data science, and these kind of the emerging technologies. And that's why the reason, as usual, that cybersecurity also equally evolving in the same direction, where the protection of that technology in a safer way and development in the safer way. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am. Actually, what you've been talking about is very unique and very different to the students, apart from their usual knowledge. You're asking them again and again, right from the first question, if I can sense, to think of the larger world view also while they are working with their current role and responsibility and learning new things. You're constantly telling them to also think about the society and the kind of challenges we are facing, whether it is environmental changes, whether it is sustainability, whether it is any other kind of issue that we are facing as a society, and to really think as engineers as problem solvers, and not just work in that framework within the company, but also if later they want to start their own venture, this kind of skill set of problem solving and thinking about the society, and having, the word that you used was value based leadership, that trait will really come in very handy for them. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I come to a very interesting question now, Tushar, to you. You have had a wonderful stint of more than a decade, ever since you graduated as an engineer from BITS Pilani, maybe 10, 11, 12 years ago. And you've had wonderful experience with some very reputed companies in these last 10, 12 years. I would like to ask you, as far as your own personal and professional journey is concerned, how would you advise the students, the engineers, the prospective students of today, when you look at that gap between what it was for you 10 years ago and now, and especially when you do all this hiring exercise of, hiring fresh software graduates, what would you advise them as far as staying relevant is concerned, especially in this very fast changing environment, in terms of learning, doing, thinking, anything that comes to your mind?
Yeah, sure. So I would like to start with one thing which I have observed during my career as well. Whom do we see as a great engineer in a team? Someone who sees patterns of like how systems can fail. So if I go to a principal engineer at Amazon, like while working there with a solution that I propose, he would know that like where it can fail. That is what makes them great. So uh, ma'am talked about research, like reading research, reading blogs about other engineering companies solving problems. That is something which usually students don't do in their college days. I mean, eh, engineering companies are solving a lot of problems, and they have their own engineering blogs which they publish about uh, failures or successes. What I have seen in my professional journey is that failures are taken positively at almost all the organizations, and we always seek to learn from what we failed at. And there is a detailed analysis what goes on into what made us fail for that particular uh, like point. So we have to have a mindset like we have to try, we have to build, and we can fail as well, but be critical about what caused that failure. Uh, that is something which we need to learn. And a great engineer always knows patterns where systems can fail. And like all the engineers know what can work, but only great engineers know like what will fail. And that makes them great engineers in the corporate world or in general as well. Yeah, that is one thing which I would suggest people to do, like read more research, read more blogs from engineering companies which are solving complex problems. Uh, so that will like give them the edge, that they'll know like what is going on. They can even contribute if they see something where, let's say, a research paper was there and they see that they can maybe improve upon that. They can publish their own research on that. So when you read more, you get more ideas, is what I'm coming to. So that is one thing which engineering students should do in this era. The second thing is, I would say, build things. Engineers are like we are doing engineering to build things. We are like trying to make a product, trying to do something. I mean, not just read. So if you get an idea during your college days, you have 4 years. 4 years is like a very long time. If you see, if you even if you spend 2 hours building things, it compounds over the years which you have at college. So what I would suggest is, do things. You'll get to learn a lot from actually doing it and maybe failing at certain point, rising up again and like doing that. So you have to gain a skill of driving consensus. So when you do things, you need budgeting, you need money to build it. You will go to your professors, you'll write a technical documentation that, okay, this is something. You'll create a presentation to present your idea. I mean, so you have to do things, take it to completion, and even if it is a small thing, doing that will give you such a positive boost to you, and a learning which is apart from your curricular activities, which is a great thing to do while you're in college. So that is one thing. There's another thing which I really liked about my college. I mean, I hope all the colleges have that. Is you can take on projects as courses. So there are study-oriented projects, there are lab-oriented projects. Uh, that should be something which people should try to get into more. Try to work with professors. Professors have like, ma'am also has like more than 25 years of experience, like seeing what research is going on. Like when you work with your professors, you'll get more ideas. You'll like publish. You'll do some study. Like let's say even if you start with a project where you just study research papers and present it, next semester you can probably try to publish it. So we should think of getting more of such projects in college. Uh, the last thing I would like to touch upon is, I think engineering students learn this through the course of their career. I mean, is ownership. So when you take up a problem, you have to own it end to end. I mean, the general practice is, even if you fail, that is your own failure, and you have to learn from what you did. You cannot like blame or put reasons around like that failure. I have seen great leaders always take up on the blame, and they try to learn and move forward, and that is what make them great leaders in the industry. So that is one thing which students should try to do from the beginning of their career, and they'll really shine and make some great contributions to the society and our country as well. Like ma'am mentioned, like when you try to solve a problem, solve it from a holistic perspective, solving for the country, solving for the society, and in a sustainable manner, and like, all those things. Yeah, that's a few points which I would like to add over here.
Wonderful, wonderfully summarized. I think you spoke about some beautiful points, which is going to be a great takeaway for engineering students of today and even the ones who are in the industry right now. I think the first point that you mentioned was so critical of, really pointing out where engineering can fail. And, like you said, we are all, you are kind of trained as an engineer to make things work, but where can it really fail is where the magic lies. And initially while you were answering that question, the thought that kept coming to my mind was, does it have to do with experience? But then you answered it in your second point, which was do a lot of research, blog, read cases of how other companies have solved those problems, what kind of scenarios have they faced. So I think that is a wonderful tip for students, that they need not wait for them to accumulate experience for them to
Mhm.
reach that ability to predict when things will fail. as an engineer, if they start doing that groundwork right where they are in the college right now, they can absolutely begin at that. And then you spoke about starting with anything, any idea that they have, and experimenting with it, and not really worrying about failing, and really doing things. Because like you said, 4 years is a long time for any student to really experiment with things and not really worry about failing, just learning. So these were very, very important. They sound very simple, but they're extremely powerful, impactful points, which will give them a lot of confidence when they go into the industry, and they can talk with a lot of conviction, even if it is a small thing that they have tried and tested. I think that will really add to their learning and personality. Thanks so much for that. Thank you for sharing. Ma'am, you talked about two very vital points, which I would like to take up in a more slightly in-depth way. You talked about value-based leadership and problem-solving abilities. These are very important aspects when we talk about engineering education per se. Uh, but while they are wonderful things to be done, how can the students really cultivate this into their present engineering education or experience? Is there something that they can actively do to work on these two aspects? If you can suggest them some path.
The first thing that they need to change their mindset, attitude, and they need to implement in action. So that's a major thing that they have to do. And by basically, I think, as per my knowledge, with my experience that I am observing, I think 60 to 70% of the students are of a self-motivated, and they are paying attention. But the academic environment, it's all in the hands of the higher education institutions, where we need to pay more attention and giving awareness on them, that we need to give awareness to them, that how that, rather than memorizing and reproducing in an examination getting the grades, apart from that, they need to think that how that concepts will be helpful in the solving of the problems. So from day one onwards, whatever the concepts that they are learning, and that's what we are talking about, experimental learning, and where each subject should have the project. Really, if the students of present generation of a BTech who are studying, if they understand the new education policy, what's the vision of our country, and I'm damn sure that in future that the students who are coming from the India, that definitely they can make that make us, all of us, are so proud that they become the industry ready engineers, and they become the entrepreneurs too, wherein very focused, and there each and every subject should have some case studies or projects. So, and similarly, that innovation and research. So where in our college, suppose for example, our students are participating in the Smart India hackathons and T-Hub competitions, where once they won the prizes, and they are getting the confidence that they can do anything in their own way. And moreover, MSME funding also coming to the students at present. The policies of the government is also changed and totally, but that awareness, self-awareness, that is also one of the skills that the students supposed to have, where every time that expecting from the teachers or expecting from the others, rather than that, they need to have the self-awareness on the various opportunities what are all available for them. That kind of mindset that they need to change, and they need to grab the opportunities, and that too they should have the ability, and they should think in the direction that they need to change the challenges into opportunities. That's the first thing that they need to focus more on. That definitely in our journey, that in their journey, definitely they face a number of challenges. They should have the ability to convert the challenges into the opportunities. That is another quality required. And moreover, every time, rather than thinking about they need to think at the time of the problem solving even, so pure in heart about the society too. That kind of mindset that they need to change. And because hardly that engineers, that what are all the responsibility as an engineer, that what's our role in the society, if they understand, definitely that will be gives a lot of impact on them. And as usual, that they need to pay that interpersonal skills, focus on the emotional quotient, and as well as the social quotient, apart from the IQ, where they feel that proud about themselves, that we are the great, that we can develop any product on our own. Rather than that, they need to have that. So slowly at the time of studies, even social quotient and emotional quotient too, where they need to balance their emotions, and as well as the social interpersonal skills and collaboration. And finally, I can say one point, that the students supposed to pay more attention on innovation, research, and collaboration. For them, that they can claim that they are the 2030 engineers.
Right, ma'am. Absolutely. Absolutely. And in fact, when you talked about the fact that they can be collaborators, they can be people who can expand their vision and work with the society, I think one of the most fundamental points that you pointed out was, which is very relevant, especially for students who are studying engineering education right now, is that whatever concepts that they are studying right now, they can start applying and thinking that of in terms of the problems that are being faced in the society and how can those concepts be applied. At least in their mind they can start changing those ideas, and like you said, mind shift change is one of the most important changes that they need to work on, and look at every opportunity, sorry, as every challenge as an opportunity. So I think that in itself will be a game changer for many of the engineering students who are studying right now or who are just about to join the industry. Mr. Anupam, coming back to you again, this is a question which is probably being asked since decades of whatever engineering education has existed. See, engineering education, according to me, has to be very closely aligned to the industry, because obviously engineers are all about taking action, problem solving, sustainability, and finding solutions to very complex problems, right? So again, we come back to a very fundamental question, which is a question that academia always asks the industry. There is always a gap which exists between what the academia is doing and what the industry is asking for. Of course, that gap is minimizing a lot now, because the academic environment is also making sure that that alignment is very, very close, and the industry is also doing its part of adopting some of these academic institutions as part of their regular work environment, and involving them in various projects and stuff. But still, there is always something that can be worked upon, and something that exists as a gap. So where would you be able to suggest in terms of those gaps, and what can the academia do about it according to you?
Yeah, sure. So from my experience until now, like what I have observed is when an engineer joins, for me as well, right? When I joined very early in my career, engineers are not great communicators of like that is some a point which usually is not that great. I mean, we are great at tech. We know what we have learned, but communication is required in a industry level problem solving, which we do. We have to write technical documentations. We have to present our ideas. We have to present plan documentations. Like uh, let's say we start with a problem, we have to break it down into small problems, which we already do, but communicating that in a document and getting it reviewed, driving consensus from leaders is something which I felt is learned over practice for sure. Yes, but if I had that, I would definitely have an edge as a new joiner in a particular company. Uh, what we used to do in college is when we take up a project, let's say there are four members to a project, and we just discuss among ourselves. We collaborate on the parts. Like there's no writing which happens, but on the opposite, when we join a industry, we have to get all those things documented, reviewed. The process needs to be finalized. There is a lot of thought process which goes into before we step into making a solution working, right? So that is something which is missing, what I felt. The second thing is cross-team collaboration. So usually, like it happens, so is that we work in teams of four, but an organization is a large organization. There is a design team which will be there. There's a product team which you have to collaborate with. There is a uh, in engineering leadership, there are other teams which you have to collaborate with. I think that opportunity, as I said in my previous answer, like we will come when we take up more projects and work with professors, and like eventually, if it turns into a big idea, there will be more students involved. But what I feel is there should be some opportunity given to students, especially in third or fourth year, that they should be acting as leaders and doing projects with juniors in maybe first or second year. So what it gives is the first and second year students get to do more stuff. Third and fourth year students try like act as leaders and get things done. Like you will be following a process where you will write documentations and maybe an oversight from a professor where like things get reviewed before you move forward. A project for a semester can be having benchmarks. Like let's say we have a monthly check-in with a professor. We'll review your work and then give a go ahead. You have to drive consensus. You have to convince the professor that okay, this is the right approach for the project. So these are things which like we learn in the industry with our experience, but having that the day we join will definitely give the edge. And like if we are able to inculcate that leadership skills, right? And uh, people are ready, like even if they try to make a product, try a startup, like they are ready to get into and like do all those things, like which they would have learned over a year or so, but they can ship more faster. They can be more confident while interacting with other industry people while getting funding, like whatnot. So that is something which I felt can be there. Uh, Second thing is that when we do projects, we don't consider about other things like cost perspective of a project. Like what will be the cost involved? What will be the budgeting? What will be the activities which needs to be planned? What will be the timeline? There is no restriction. Okay, you have to present something by this time, but what is the percentage of that shipment? Like those things should be more formalized in a project. That for a semester project, professor says that okay, this is what you have to achieve in a project by this time. This is how the industry works, and that'll so those things can definitely help bridge some gaps while a student joins the industry.
Very well put. Very well put. I think uh, one point that really came out very clearly was the fact that students should get involved in these kind of activities and projects at a very young starting phase journey of
Mhm.
their engineering education. And one point that really stood out to me in your response was the fact that how can juniors and seniors within the same course collaborate together and start learning from each other. And what I have seen in a lot of engineering colleges is that there's a lot of camaraderie and bonding and strong feeling of ownership that seniors have towards their juniors, and juniors
Mhm.
also look up very
Mhm.
warmly towards their seniors because they really feel that they're like their idols. They're their inspiration, and they really learn more from them sometimes than even the academic environment at times. And they become their inspiring factors. So you're very right there by saying if both these students can be brought together by the institution through a formalized way of doing a project work together, it can really work very well. I think that
Mhm.
will also work psychologically and behaviorally very well, and students will really welcome that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have some wonderful questions from our attendees who are watching this right now. So there are two questions for both of you. So Neha, I'll ask you to please pose those questions and ask our speakers.
Yeah. So we do have a question for Dr. Madhavi. How should students navigate career uncertainty when many future roles they don't even exist yet?
Like one thing I strongly believe, like what are all the opportunities outside at the time of study, and they should not think that what kind of the opportunities outside. So only the thing that they need to pay attention that their skill development, and they have to prove themselves that they are the best engineers, and automatically there will be n number of opportunities will knock to them. And definitely till today, even the present days, the people are talking about there is a very typical phase even, and our college students are getting the placements, which means that like no, only every time that as a principal that I usually used to tell to them that your skill is your property. That skill which include technical skills, probably upgrading themselves and technical knowledge and emerging technologies, and the programming skills, leadership qualities. So a number of things what I have discussed so far, if they are thorough with that, and I am sure that no need to worry about whether the jobs are there or not.
So what ma'am is saying is very reassuring actually to the students of today, because this is a very common question and a lot of anxiety causing area for especially engineering students, that a lot of jobs with this fast-paced change of AI and automation and whatnot happening is really removing a whole lot of opportunities, roles, responsibilities. Of course, we are seeing it also happening. It's not just there, but I think what you've said is very reassuring for the students. Focus on what you're doing. Your job, your skill set is your property. That's your legacy. Keep building on it, working on it, and jobs will definitely be there for you. So I think that, and innovation, like you've been talking about right from the first point, innovation is going to lead you to the right place. I think we have one more question for Mr. Anupam. Neha?
Yes. Thank you so much, ma'am. We do have one question for Mr. Anupam. How will interdisciplinary engineers be valued compared to the highly specialized ones?
Uh, yeah, I'd like to answer that. I mean, yeah, it's a very interesting question. Both have their own values. So uh, there's like in computer science engineering, there is a backend engineer, and there is a full stack engineer, and then there is a like front end engineer, right? All have their own values. So if a person like multidisciplinary, right? They know a lot of things. They can solve ambiguous problems. But while solving those ambiguous problems, they get into a particular stream which requires depth, and that is where a single disciplinary master would help them. So let's say a PhD in computer science with computer vision as their research topic, right? Uh, and a multidisciplinary engineer is trying to build something which involves that. They don't have that depth, right? So that particular engineer who has a PhD and like specializes in computer vision will be required at that point of time. I would give an example from like my previous company. I have a friend working in Amazon databases team, right? So databases team hires very senior Stanford professors who are like PhDs in databases, right? They don't have like multidisciplinary knowledge, but they are experts of that field. They are still required to build those systems at scale. Uh, according to me, like both have their own value, and there's no single choice, as I would say. And do what you feel like. If you are interested, let's say in computer vision, do a PhD, uh, get into the depths. You, like ma'am said, your skill set is your asset. You will be valued for what you build. That is there for sure.
Right. So both have their own intrinsic value, and the
Yes.
students need to take a call based on their area of interest
Interest. Yeah.
and how they would like to further expand their career and how would they like to further contribute in
Hmm.
terms of engineering education. In fact, I can't even begin to tell you both that, this question about skill sets and about this whole area of, changing, evolving environment and how is it going to replace a lot of the roles that engineers are facing today, how much we are asked on these lines by student community that we are engaging with. And in fact, this is a concern not just for them, but even for the parents. And like you were mentioning, Tushar, you were talking about computer science engineering, but we're seeing a lot of trends and shifts happening even in other parts of engineering courses that are
Hmm.
happening, and a lot of technological advancements. So I think that is a very fundamental question that both of you have answered, and I'm very very positive that our students will find a lot of their answers from both of you. Any parting remarks before we wrap up today from both of you, for us, especially for our student community, for the students who are preparing for engineering as a career, who are looking at this as a very bright prospective field for their future? Any parting remarks from both of you? Ma'am, you would like to go first?
Uh, so one thing I can tell that the whole society is looking for you, and once you opted a profession as an engineering, like you should believe that you are unique in the society, and where you are the person where you are going to make that all the people in the society comfort and a luxury life, and you are making them so comfortable, that much of responsibility that you have. and you need to pay more attention rather than getting only the degree as a BTech or Bachelor of Engineering. You need to pay more attention on to become an engineer of the future, where you should have the depth knowledge on one subject and multidisciplinary knowledge too. Both you need to have, and I think that you make a very unique, and believe that God given only one life. In that life, the God opted you as an engineer, which means that you have a very important role in the society, where you feel that responsibility, and all the time whatever the problem that you are going to solve, and see that it should be in a safe and inclusive manner.
Yeah.
Wonderful, ma'am. Wonderful. Very positive, inspiring message. And I think this is something which will really, make the students really think deeply about the choices that they've made in life. For whatever reasons, they have landed being an engineer. Now they've got to make it work and really contribute very meaningfully. Tushar, what about you?
Yeah, I would just say, I mean, build more, stick to the fundamentals. Don't think about a lot about getting a job and those things. As and when you do more, you will be already set for your career. Apart from that, yeah, do take care of your health. Uh, don't ignore that while doing anything. Healthy body can only do good work. So that is there. I would definitely want to add that at the end. Yeah, that's about it for me.
Tushar is a wonderful fitness enthusiast and a regular marathon runner, ma'am. So naturally, he wanted to share that tip with all the
Yes,
students. In fact, it's not just for
definitely.
the students; it's for all of us
Yes, yes,
also.
definitely.
A fit body has a fit mind. So obviously, that's a biggest takeaway. In fact, in one of our webinars where we were doing it for the hotel management education sector, when the speakers were talking about various attributes and skill set, they pointed out on physical fitness and emotional agility as one of the most important things for students to have apart from everything else. So very rightly pointed out, Tushar. And
Hmm.
both of you have given very inspirational ideas, points, insights to our student community, to the faculty, and everybody who has been present today as attendees, not just on this webinar, but even on our YouTube channel. I can't thank both of you enough. It has been a wonderful conversation. I will now request Neha for a vote of thanks before we end.
This was a very fruitful and enriching discussion. On behalf of the whole GHRDC team, I would like to express my appreciation and gratitude to all the participants who took out time to attend the webinar. A very sincere thanks to our panel of experts. Your presence has been invaluable and has undoubtedly made this webinar a great success. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thanks
for
a
having
lot.
us. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
We look
Thank
forward
you.
to
Thank you.
having more such vibrant, insightful sessions with both of you in the future. And thank you so much once again for all your words of wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye bye. Have a lovely day.
Bye.